Trump's name is now tied to the most controversial files in modern politics, the Epstein case. Some of his biggest supporters are demanding answers. Others say it's all a distraction. Is this the scandal that could shake the MAGA movement, or just more political noise? Let's break it down to understand what's really happening. We need to look at who's speaking out and why it's causing a divide within Trump's own base. The movement has brought together prominent figures on the far right, including Tucker Carlson, activist Laura Loomer, Elon Musk, and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Despite their steadfast support for Donald Trump, all have criticized his administration's treatment of data on the late sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein. However, in towns and cities across the United States, a more complicated and nuanced image emerges, reminding us that Trump voters, like any other political demographic, are not a monolith. Some of the U.S. president's supporters are clearly motivated by the Epstein case and are pressing Congress to fight for greater transparency. It's the #1 phone call we receive by far, said Eric Burleson. Stay informed with the latest on Trump and U.S. politics. Hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments below. A Republican congressman from Missouri in a CNN interview last week. It's probably 500 to 1. Others, however, appear to be ignoring the crisis, as they have with so many others that have threatened Trump's political career. They remain firmly devoted to a president whom they feel is bringing low inflation, strong border security, and significant reversals of progressive programs. They are willing to follow the White House's advice to trust in Trump. That was the prevalent feeling this week in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, a former steel town and Democratic stronghold that voted decisively for Trump last November. Teddy, 55, wearing a Stars and Stripes hat and seated on a bench in Central Park in downtown Johnstown, was forthright in his assessment. Trump is right about everything. No matter what he does, Epstein, he's dead. That's it. It's over. Did he not care that Trump's name is purportedly included in the Epstein papers, which have yet to be made public? That's a bunch of bullshit, remarked Teddy, who didn't want to reveal his last name. The world should move on. Get over it. Kurt, 51, a fellow Trump supporter in Central Park who was recently released from state jail, shared similar sentiments. Democrats were the only ones concerned about Trump's relationship with Epstein, he said. Epstein was a piece of shit and received what he deserved. They haven't found any evidence that Trump did anything. He claimed Pennsylvania was critical in helping Trump reach the 270 electoral college votes required to win the presidency. His promises to bring back manufacturing, lower living costs, and drive out immigrants were particularly well received in the state's western rural areas. Trump won Cambria County, which contains Johnstown, with 68% to Joe Biden's 31%. Pam, who also declined to offer her last name, said she didn't believe Trump's name was in the files at her local Walmart. Trump has morals. He may not appear to have any, but he does. He wanted to defend the United States when no one else did. Regarding media coverage of the story, she stated, "My uncle was in the Secret Service. He used to tell me that everything you see on television is what they want you to believe, not what is truly going on." Trump has come under increasing pressure from both political allies and adversaries to provide more details about the Justice Department's investigation into Epstein, a disgraced financier who officials determined died by himself in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. After U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi promised to release additional information about potential Epstein clients and the circumstances surrounding his death, the Justice Department reversed course this month, saying there was no reason to continue investigating and no evidence of a client list. That triggered an outcry from some of Trump's followers, who had long suspected the government of concealing Epstein's connections to the wealthy. On Friday, Trump denied that Bondi told him in May that his name was in the Epstein files. However, interviews conducted by The Guardian in several states revealed that Republicans are generally inclined to give Trump the benefit of the doubt and suspicious that he is the victim of a double standard. Gavin Rollins, a lawyer from Orlando, Florida, acknowledged unhappiness with how the administration's earlier communications elevated expectations, but complimented Trump for doing a phenomenal job overall. "I think on the Epstein thing, I wish things had been handled a little bit differently," he told me. "I believe the rollout was less than smooth. I would argue that it's vital, but I also believe in providing grace to individuals, and he's gotten a lot right." He stated, "I believe the Epstein issue is obviously critical and important, but I believe what most people are concerned with is the promotion of the Trump agenda, the MAGA America First agenda. I believe Epstein is being used as a distraction." Davis said, "We can walk and chew gum at the same time. They need to investigate the Epstein thing to the nth degree." But I think most people are concerned in the results of what the Trump administration is doing rather than analyzing this issue from the past. Mary Smith, the party chair in Dixon County, Tennessee, said if Donald Trump's name is tied to something, it's like a shark fest, and if somebody else's name is attached, oh, it's no big issue, and it's thrown under the rug. I'm really bored of the entire Trump thing despite Democrats' efforts to keep attention on the Epstein case. Some are eager to move on. James Bennett, a lumber company owner and Republican Party chair in Calhoun County, Alabama, stated, as far as I'm concerned, Trump's campaign has run its course. I know the Democrats are out there trying to put gas on the fire, but the fire is about to go out. That may prove to be wishful thinking. Only 17% of Americans approve of Trump's handling of the Epstein case, the lowest rating the president obtained on any other issue in a Reuters Ipsos poll last week. 35% of Republicans approve, 29% dislike, and the remainder are unclear or did not respond. Whit Ayers, a Republican consultant and pollster, distinguishes between Trump supporters who sympathize with the MAGA movement and those drawn to his promises to reduce inflation, boost the economy, close the southern border, and address woke society. For the MAGA group, this is a very big deal. Ayers told the crowd many of them believed into all the conspiracy theories surrounding Epstein, whether it was the fact that he mistreated a bunch of kids and then covered it up, or that he was part of a larger deep state effort to protect elites and the privileged in general. The other individuals who voted for Trump find it worrisome, but not as fascinating as the MAGA crowd. They are more interested in whether he will be able to reduce inflation than in Epstein. That's not to say Epstein isn't a troubling story for them. It's all a matter of perception. Another survey published this week called into question common beliefs. According to an Economist/YouGov poll, Republican voters who identify as MAGA are more inclined to support the president's handling of the Epstein investigation, 56%, than those who do not, 38% overall. 45% of Republicans approve, 25% disagree, and the remaining 30% are unclear. Mike Boatman, 57, is one such MAGA voter. He has attended roughly 100 Trump campaign rallies, including one last year in Butler, Pennsylvania, where the then-Republican nominee survived an assassination attempt. His faith is unshaken. I'm backing President Trump, said Boatman, an independent contractor from Evansville, Indiana. He knows more than we do about the situation. There are more pressing worries for me than the Epstein files. There's so much that President Trump needs to accomplish. He has 3.5 years to get it done. Don't get me wrong, I'm against pedophiles, and whoever did that to Epstein should be punished. But there are more important things nonetheless. The subject continues to dominate headlines and puts pressure on Republicans in the House of Representatives. They went on recess a day early to avoid voting on releasing Epstein material. Mike Johnson, the House Speaker, stressed that the Epstein case is not a hoax despite Trump's use of that word. The president has been adamant, referring to supporters who are fixated on the topic as weaklings who are benefiting Democrats. I don't want their support anymore. Trump said this in a social media post this week. He attempted to divert his supporters' attention by advancing the unfounded accusation that Barack Obama and his officials falsified intelligence assessments to imply that Russia interfered in the 2016 election, accusing his predecessor of treason. Next, he might try something even more drastic to alter the narrative. Reed Galen, president of the Union, a pro-democracy coalition, stated, my real fear is that he gets us into some sort of wag the dog situation where all of the distractions aren't working, and he decides to throw up some gigantic, bright, shiny object that gets us all in trouble. But Galen is skeptical that the Epstein story will have far-reaching political consequences. To me, the other side of this is, what difference does it make? I shouldn't say that to downplay Jeffrey Epstein's misdeeds or his victims' misery. I'm looking at this from a purely electoral standpoint. He is not going to leave the office. The midterms are 15 to 16 months away. Do I believe this is material for the left, the media, and even true MAGAs who are like, what's going on? Yeah, do I believe we'll be discussing this a year from now? Hard to believe.